Hello, it's Monday the 12th of August. We're currently sitting on anchor hiding behind Gia on the west coast of Scotland, and this will be the first of two podcasts we're going to do today as we play a little bit of catch up. The last week, couple of weeks I think it is, or almost 2 weeks, have been really busy as we've made our way up the coast of Ireland and Northern Ireland.
I think it's actually 10 days.
10 days, okay. We've had a proper good boost with the weather, which is a welcome change. And we've made really good progress. The last time we spoke, we were at Cahors Harbour, which is a little tiny town or village, and just a little jetty sticking out, so we just used the landscape there to get a little bit of shelter and carried on up the coast, so a few highs and lows on the way.
Yeah, one of them being the confusion of Mizzen Head.
Yeah,
Lots of messages.
Who knew there was two Mizzen
Lots of
Heads?
messages saying that people were confused as to where we were, because Mizzen Head apparently is on the west coast of Ireland, but actually no. It's a charted Mizzen Head on the east coast as well, which lies between Arklow and Wicklow.
Yeah. So the place names that we use, we update on our blog and talk about on here in the podcast. We're taking them all from the Admiralty charts, so they're pretty much factually correct. Cartographers and people that have way more education than me have spent a lot of time putting these together, so they're unlikely to have any mistakes in them. So that's what we use. Sometimes there's local names that aren't shown on there, so there can sometimes be little differences.
So we had some really good rows up Southern Ireland, or the Republic of Ireland. We pretty much rode 6 hours on, 6 hours off for most of it.
Yeah.
A couple of weather breaks.
Yeah, we were quite fortunate with the weather. There's most of it was helping us for a change, and that just shows the progress that we've made. It's been good. There's a couple of times where it was quite challenging. I think Dublin Bay was the first one, was it?
Yeah, Dublin Bay wasn't particularly pleasant. Well, we stopped in Dublin Bay beforehand. It was pleasant because it was nice and sheltered.
Yeah, so we met
a few really nice people,
yeah,
including the birthday girl and boy who were offering us a glass of wine to celebrate.
Right, yeah.
And we had to politely decline, and Gordon, the lifeguard at 40-foot swimming area, natural swimming area that's guarded just in Dunleary there, he brought us out some biscuits and snacks, but again we had to politely decline. But what he did do was take some photographs for us, so that was really, really appreciated, and pretty much told everyone else to give us peace and quiet and let us sleep, which was...
Yeah, and he also did a drawing on a whiteboard and sent us a photo of it. It's a stunning drawing of Boudicea.
It was really creative.
Really, really good, really skilled. So from there we had to cross Dublin Bay, which is a VTS area again, so we had to get permission to cross, and it meant going slightly further to the west than we had intended, which meant that we had a little bit more of a fight with the weather on our hands. It was quite a fresh day. It was westerly it was blowing, and it was pretty fresh, probably a little bit on the fresh side for a normal row, given we were going in behind a headland and going to get shelter from the land, though we were keen to crack on, so off we set and crossed the VTS area, and then that's when the fun started, really. We had
fun's another name for it.
Pretty chunky waves to contend with, and it wasn't so much the size of the waves, it was the frequency, the really fast frequency, and you just don't really get a break in between them, so it was quite a wet crossing. We were making decent enough speed, it was just brutal.
Yeah, it wasn't very pleasant at all.
Then we got round the headland and it was a following sea, so we were just screaming along, and Boudicea just excels in a bit of a following sea. We can really cover the ground well, so we made it up round the next little headland in past Hoath, and then we just went to anchor behind a little island called Ireland's Eye. So we waited for the next tide and then pushed on from there. I think the next challenging point was actually Belfast Bay, wasn't it? Crossing there. That was just not enjoyable. Again, it was quite fresh, but it was the only sort of weather window. So we felt a little bit pressured. We wouldn't normally bow to that pressure, but just given the forecast, it was marginal. You know, we knew we had it in us to do it, or we would have stayed. And we set off, and yeah, it was beam on. It was just,
which means it's coming from the side, so the
yeah,
waves are splashing over the side of the boat, and
you struggle to get the oars to bite in. You know, you can't really get any rhythm going with the rowing, and when we're both rowing, that becomes quite difficult, because you risk clashing oars. You've really got to keep your wits about you. You get a sore neck if you're sitting at the aft end of the boat, because you're constantly looking round to see what the other oars are doing, and sitting up forward you get a sore neck because you're constantly looking for the waves. So it's not easy, and again, it was a wet crossing, very tiring, but we made it across, and glad that we did actually go for it too, because it just meant that we could push on and exploit the next little bit of weather that came in on the next tide. And had we not pushed on, we would have probably been held back a day or two. So it was, you know, it was a hard slog, but worth it.
And the welcome we got at Port Muck, is it?
Port Muck, yeah.
Yeah, so that was our first port after
Belfast. So we weren't actually intending stopping there. We had a little bay earmarked, which was another 1.5 miles further along the coast, near Larne, and the tide turned a little bit earlier than expected, meaning that we were fighting to row into it. We were both quite tired from the crossing, so one of the lessons learned, you know, any nautical or seagoing passage, you always need to have a backup, have a bolt hole, somewhere that you can run to. And one of the big things that we've learnt here is, don't just have one backup, have 5 or even 10. Or have lots of options of places to go. So we had looked at the chart and thought, well, in behind Isle of Muck is actually a viable option, just depending on the direction of the wind, of course, but you know, for the conditions we were seeing, it was fine. So we just ran in there, and little old traditional harbour. It's not really used as a harbour now. We just anchored off it, and there were some really nice people there. Young Daniel swam out to say hello.
I'd been sent out by his dad to check out what we were all about. But it was really nice to see him. He was a really genuine, nice lad.
Aye, just a really nice, smiley lad, and he went back in and spoke to his dad, and we got a photo of Daniel next to the boat. And we were also sent a photo from a photographer who was out taking nighttime shots, and the sunset that evening the sky was just quite amazing. The cloud cover and colour of the sky, and still wind by that point. You know, the water was reflecting everything that was in the sky. It was just absolutely stunning. And I thought my photo that I took from the boat was good, but the photo we were sent in is just utterly amazing, and yeah, just really pretty special.
You can see the photo on our Facebook blog. It's the one that Tommy Mahood took. And then where did we go from there? We carried on through Larne.
Yeah, so we crossed Larne, another busy port. We managed to do that without getting run over. There was a few ships moving in and out, busy ferry port and commercial traffic, so we got across there, no problem, and we nipped into a bay to anchor. Well, we were hoping to get up to Red Bay, but it was never going to happen with the weather that we had. So we nipped into the bay, now I've forgotten the name of it, and we anchored there for waiting for the next tide, and we got a decent enough bit of rest. It was quite calm and everything, wasn't it? So we then pushed on the following tide, which was a fairly short journey to go up the coast, round a headland and into Red Bay. Should have been 9 miles, so should have been cracked out really quickly. The first few miles was just amazing. We were doing close to 5 knots. We had a visit from Paddy and Tom McLaughlin from Red Bay. Paddy's one of the volunteer coxswains at Red Bay, and Tom runs Red Bay boats, so they came out to say hello, which was really nice of them. And so we had a blether with them while we were just drifting, and probably still doing about 2 knots, maybe even 3 knots with the tide. And then we got round the headland and the wind hit us head on, and the last 2 miles took something like 2 hours, I think, was it?
Longer.
It was quite a slow slog. I think we got a bit of a back eddy, a negative back eddy with the tide and the wind, and it seemed to take forever. So we eventually got into Red Bay, and it was Paddy had been telling us it's their carnival celebrations there, so there's fireworks at night, and there'll be a bit of noise on shore because there's music and a bit of a party going on. So but he suggested where we go to anchor to take in the fireworks, which was quite amazing.
They were quite spectacular, the fireworks.
So that was pretty much our last stop off. And
yeah, we've missed a few out, but
yeah, it's been quite a fast-paced run up the coast.
Not been anything too exciting to. We've told you the exciting bits because we didn't really have any wildlife sightings either.
No, we didn't. Bizarrely, we didn't.
A couple of dolphins.
Lots of places would like to come back and explore from the land. You know, it's a beautiful part of the world. And last little bit there, you know, the Antrim Coast, it was just epic.
Stunning. Just beautiful.
Difficult to describe. It's so green, and you know, the landscape. There's fields and things like way up in the sky. Basically, it's just epic looking. So I'd love to come back and explore in a bit more detail.
Next stop, Scotland.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Catch you.